All right. So this is an interesting one, and I'm going to give you a little bit of backstory as we go to make sure that we're clear on this. But the
Okay.
basic question is this. Friend and viewer Chris McFate said, "Gentlemen, I've watched your previous videos about the owning and wearing of different kilts from different clans. We've talked about that many times, that it's okay to have
Wearing more than
multiple
one. Yep.
lines of heritage. However, my question is this. Should I feel uncomfortable wanting to own and wear the tartan of a rival clan?" So his story basically is that his main lineage is that he's a MacPherson, but he recently found out that way, 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 way back on his great-great-grandmother's side, they were actually MacGregors, and then changed their name to Gregory in the 17th century because the name MacGregor was prescripted against. You could be put to death if you didn't renounce the name. So they did it for very serious reasons at the time.
Hence the MacGregor despite them
Exactly.
motto. Yeah.
Exactly. And them being the outlaws. So he loves that part of his heritage. He loves the MacGregor tartans. He'd like to wear one, but he's worried that people are gonna be upset or weird about it if he's wearing literally a rival clan. Not just that the MacGregors are outlaws, but apparently the MacPhersons and the MacGregors were like blood enemies.
McLarens or MacPhersons?
MacLaren. Sorry, MacLaren.
Okay.
We'll just dub that in when I say MacPherson. I'll be like MacLaren. He's a MacLaren, and the MacLarens and the MacGregors apparently were blood enemies for a long time. So he's afraid of what reaction he'll get if he wears the tartan of the enemy, even though he's related to both.
I would say this. The Americans, it was quite a long time ago. The people that tend to get fussed about these things are generally not the Scots, unless they're like historians or they were direct descendants of something, or it's like they're directly linked to it. It is several hundred years ago. It's not like they're physically. It wasn't last weekend that their buddy got shivved by a MacGregor and he's a MacLaren. So it's a long time ago. B, Scots really aren't too fussed about it. They're talking about old traditions and old timey stuff versus what they're doing today. Americans, who are obsessed with the history about the things and trying to make sure that they're not doing something incorrect, are the ones, or that they're doing things properly, are the ones who tend to get more animated about these things. So both of these things are your heritage, MacGregor and MacLaren. So I wouldn't worry about it. We've said before, I wouldn't mix the tartans, but that's anything, whether they're blood enemies or not.
Right.
I wouldn't wear a Stuart tie and a Campbell kilt, whether they're enemies or not. It looks weird, because you're not honoring really either. You're kind of dishonoring both by wearing more than one. Is my 2 cents on the matter.
Right.
But it's not that big of a deal, now. As long as you're, a respectful, student of the culture, and you're wearing it respectfully, and you're honoring your own personal heritage, and you're not trying to pass something off that you're not. It's do what you want to do within that. That being said, I'd wear one or the other at any given time. I wouldn't wear them both at the same time.
No.
Most Scots that I know pick I have my mom's last name and my dad's last name. This is the one I like better. This is the one I'm going to wear.
Right.
Period. So, and they just wear, that's their tartan. They don't generally have more than one kilt.
Right.
Your thoughts?
I think you said this before, and I've kind of said it before too, that, what do you think are really the odds of you walking down the street or walking into a Highland Games event and wearing a MacGregor tartan, one of them, and somebody coming up to you and realizing you're a MacLaren and saying, "What have you done?" and pulling out their broadsword and hacking at you. Or getting into a fist fight. Is there somebody he mentioned he's active with the MacLaren Clan Society of North America. It's like, is there somebody in the society who you mention this to and they're like, blah, 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 don't do that? Yeah, it's like, they need to get over themselves. I think most people would consider it to be silly, and quite conversely, they consider it to be a fascinating point of conversation. I mean, it's basically, tribalism and clan rivalries are universal across the human experience. And if you're an enlightened person, you have to accept the fact that we've moved on from that. And there's nothing wrong with acknowledging that it happened and understanding and appreciating the history. And I think, it's like, I mean, do Campbell's and McDonald's actually have fistfights in the streets because of Glencoe? I don't think so. I don't think so. I mean, it's and that's a whole complicated story anyway.
It is, but understanding the history, understanding where it fits in to history, understanding the surrounding context of everything, and then kind of leaving it at a certain point and recognizing that people have moved on and moved forward.
Yeah.
Here's my parallel. Last week in West Virginia, were the Hatfields and the McCoys still feuding? Mm-hmm. No, they've moved on. It's okay. Let it go. Are there still people, Hatfields, McCoys, Campbell's, McDonald's, whatever, who still hold a grudge? The Scots are never known to hold a grudge. Are there still some people who hold a grudge or still talk about it? Yes, there are still people who talk about it. And that's how you bring history forward. And that's how you keep history in the zeitgeist. And it's important to continue talking about things. But most people, kind of as you said, have just kind of like, it used to be a thing. And it's kind of fun to just joke about now, but it's no longer really a thing. So don't worry your pretty little head about it. It's okay. You are both. You are a MacLaren and you are a MacGregor. You can wear both and wear them proudly. Again, I wouldn't do them simultaneously, but you're fine to do it.
That's just proper, clan etiquette.
Yeah,
basically, yeah.
Or
it's like
etiquette.
The closest I've ever come is exactly that. It's like I have some Campbell in my background on my grandmother's side, and I've once or twice had a McDonald come into the store and we joke about it. It's like, oh, you bastard, But we're just kidding around.
Yeah.
There are much, much more important things to be concerned with in this day and age.
With wars, with famine, with food shortages, with disease, with all of it. Are we really still concerned that a couple hundred years ago, some MacGregors and some MacLarens didn't get on? If you're really, if that is the biggest thing that you are concerned about, your eyes aren't open. So, honestly, don't worry about it. Move forward.
Yeah. He's already taken the first step because he knows the history.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's the bottom line is, we always say be a sincere student. So your clan's history. I'm assuming he's learned quite a bit about the MacGregors and then the Gregorys. So you're doing fine.
Yeah. And
keep enjoying that. Keep enjoying the history.
And could someone potentially take offense, like you said? Yes, 0.0001% of the population who happens to know something might say something because they have a bee in their bonnet.
Right.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
You're not going to change their mind no matter what. So don't try. Just smile, nod, and move along.
Right.
Indeed.
Wash day.
Yes.
2, 3, 4.
Why can't clans be friends? Why can't clans be friends? Now, he's a Campbell. My wife is a Stewart. Are we allowed to be friends anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Oh, shoot. All right. Guys, doesn't matter. It's history. We've moved on. Accept it. We could all be friends. I promise.